Alrighty, people, welcome in. Hopefully you're having a fantastic Thursday and your Friday's looking good. The weekend is almost here, so if you're kind of sledging through the week, don't worry. It's about to be the weekend, baby, and appreciate y'all for being here with us. Do me a favor, hit that like button as the stream is beginning. Now, it is just me today, and that is because our beloved Daniel Kaku Badaki is currently about to go into surgery, a planned surgery. Okay, so it's all planned, but the boy's going to get his gallbladder removed. Now, I don't really know exactly what the gallbladder does for your body. I'll be honest with you, like full transparency, I have no idea. But he is going to get his gallbladder removed, and it is all planned. So that's where he is. If you have a second to send him a message on Discord and just say, hey, brother, good luck. You got this, type of thing. I'm sure he would appreciate it. But I appreciate y'all for being here with us. We've got a great stream today. We're going to do a 2025 Dynasty Startup mock draft. And then we're going to look at some team playbooks as well. There's some trade questions on the Flock site. And have a nice little fun announcement for anyone who is Team FastDraft with us and ripping off some best ball tourneys. There is a nice promo for you guys for tomorrow for FastDraft Friday. Appreciate y'all for being here. What's up, Morik? Welcome in. Vince is in the building. Sparrow is here. Bo is here. Dale, what's up, guys? Welcome in. Welcome in. Again, appreciate y'all for being here with me. And we are going to jump straight in, but I just want to set up today's giveaway. We are giving away a free trade question voucher on the Flock site. So you'll see quite a few people. You might be watching our streams if you're a regular here, and you'll see people putting a trade question through the site, right? So for example, we have Johnny here who submitted a trade question, and we'll get to that at some point today. But if you want a chance to do that, to kind of basically submit into the show yourself, definitely type land into the YouTube chat and like the stream. Two very simple ways to potentially get your questions on the Flock site for freebie. Appreciate y'all for being here with me. Again, we are going to jump into a Dynasty a Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft. And look, full transparency, I don't 100% know if I'm using the right settings. I have done my best guesstimation on if these settings are correct. So I might have to send out a second link. We'll have to wait and see how this all works, because again, it's a very new feature over on the Flock site, the mock draft tools, and we're still kind of learning our way through it as well as creators. So appreciate y'all for being here. I do prefer Superflex. That's just what I've typically played in Dynasty football. There's not a wrong way to play. I always say the best way to play Dynasty football is by playing, right? So as long as you're getting in a Dynasty league, you'll feel great. What's up, Cam? Welcome in. Jared's here. McNugget's here. Bears is here. What's up? Appreciate y'all for being here with us. Now, if you want to join today's mock draft, very simple. In the Flock site, you will see under land, you will see mock drafts. So I'm just going to say, I will post the link to join me here. Okay, so right under land, right under mock drafts, that is where I'm going to post the link for you guys to join me in a Dynasty Superflex startup mock draft. All right, would love to have you join me there. So let's go ahead and send this link out here. This is a Superflex. And again, I think this is the right settings. I can't guarantee that it is, so there is a slight chance that we might have to redo this. But here we go. Let's go ahead and send this bad boy out. I'll tag our community. And let's get this thing filled. This will be fun to try another time. So basically, so you guys know the settings I went with. Superflex, okay, 2 running backs. I don't really want the 101, so I'll claim the 108 instead. 3 wide receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots. There is a 3rd round reversal here as well. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping I've done this correctly. I honestly have no idea, but yeah, so we will definitely find out. While I'm waiting for that to fill, I'm going to answer John's trade question here. And if you ever want to submit a trade question, you can do it with the Nightbot link that's about to be sent out. But John's question is, this is a counter. This is the first is their pick. So it looks like they are sending away Herbert and Adunze. They're getting back Bryce Young, a first, Charbonnet, and Tet McMillan. If that first is truly going to be early, I have a little bit more confidence in a deal like this. But overall, I'm still not thrilled about this. This still feels slightly like an undersell of Justin Herbert. But if that's truly projected to be an early first and you're confident in that, then I'm a little bit happier with a deal like that. But overall, I can't sit here and say that I'm necessarily in love with it. I mean, I would still try and do a, like, you know, you grab a Ricky Pearsall as well in this deal, and, you know, you send back a Jalen McMillan, for example. I mean, it's definitely closer than the one that you submitted yesterday, but I'm still not exactly in love with it myself. Okay, it looks like we are full here, so I will, again, I don't know what's happening. I'm gonna hit start draft. Let's see. Did I do the right settings? I have no idea. We are gonna find out. It has a little timer there, so yeah, we will find out. What's up, Micah? Welcome in. Blaze says, starting up a league with guys from the station. I don't know the best way to sell making it a super flex, because right now it's just a regular one. Look, there's no problem with a one quarterback draft. Like, that one quarterback draft is great. There's nothing wrong with doing that. So it really just comes down to your guys' preference. But watch some Dynasty content. You know, we've got some startup mock drafts that we've been doing on the stream, and you know, just decide, you know, if it's something that you want to push for, you can bring them on the stream as well, and I can tell them why it's fun. But yeah, completely up to you. All right, as we are off and rolling, I think I've done the right settings. I have no idea, but it looks like our first four picks are Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and Josh Allen. Then Jamar Chase coming off the board there. And for all of our members, you can sort by certain creators' rankings that you'd like to see, as Joe Burrow is the pick at the 105. And yeah, we're off to a start here. I think I'm doing this correctly. I have no idea, but I think we're on the right track. Appreciate y'all for being here with me. Do a favor, smash that like button to show some love. Again, we are doing a little giveaway today. We're giving away a free trade question voucher on the Flock site. You don't have to be a member with promo code LAND on the Flock site to enter this particular giveaway. All you have to do is type LAND into the YouTube chat, L-A-N-D, and like the stream. That's as simple as a giveaway can possibly get. But I do appreciate y'all for being here with me. And it looks like Justin Jefferson goes off the board there at the 106. Your boy is up on the clock next here. And I've got some great options. I did feel like Jalen Hurts was just such a steal at the 107. My gosh. Really, really well done. Yeah, this is where quarterbacks fall off, in my opinion. So it really is between running back or wide receiver. And in my opinion, it's more difficult to trade for Malik Neighbors, even though I do have CeeDee Lamb ranked ahead of him. So in this startup, I'll grab Neighbors here. And then if this was a real league, I would see, you know, what sort of value he had in the market, because it feels like 9 out of 10 leagues, Neighbors is more difficult to trade for than CeeDee Lamb right now, based off my experience. But yeah, definitely appreciate y'all for being here with me. We're going to have a good stream. I definitely have some mock drafts that we are planning on doing today. And as we see CeeDee Lamb off the board at the 109, then Bijan Robinson at the 110, and Jahmyr Gibbs at the 111, followed by Bowers and Puka. And this is a third round reversal, by the way. As far as tight ends, let's say it's a 0.5 premium. All right, nothing crazy, but let's just say a 0.5 tight end premium. Let's leave it at that for this stream, as Genty comes off the board there. So Sparrow going very high T here with a Gibbs and Genty start. That's very interesting. What's up, Albert? Welcome in. TD says it's because he's younger, talking about Malik Neighbors, and yeah, you could definitely be right there, as Brian Thomas is off the board at the 203. And let's see what Hand the Man does here. Started off with CeeDee Lamb at the 109. And he goes Amon-Ra St. Brown. That makes a lot of sense. that definitely makes sense to me to be the pick there. Yeah, we'll go Nico Collins here. We'll start double wide receiver. Remember, this is a third round reversal. All right, as we see Drake May off the board at the 206, so Ryan starts double quarterback there. Then Drake London at the 207 and Caleb Williams at the 208. Patrick Mahomes at the 209. I definitely like that value there. Look, there's a certain feature that you get when you become a promo code LAND annual Motherflocker member, and one of those features is the hotline. So we're going to hear from TD here. Just want to let anyone who is a promo code LAND Motherflocker member definitely check out the hotline here. I'll put a link in the chat. You can call into the show. I'm pretty lonely today without Badaki here, so it's just your boy. Would love to hear from you guys. And we've got a call queued up here from TD Vulture, so let's hear what he has to say.
Hey, Zach. Since you're doing a startup draft tonight, I was wondering, why does Cam Ward go earlier in a startup draft than he does in a rookie draft? Thanks. We'll see if it happens tonight.
It's a good question. I think we see this is not abnormal, I would say, because we see it often when teams are. So in a startup, you're really thinking about the construction of your team, right? Like, whether you like it or not, we all say we're going to draft for value, but ultimately in a super flex league, if you're through 4 rounds and you have no quarterback, in the back of your mind, you're like, wow, I'm really, all right, I'm pushing this to the edge. I need to figure out a quarterback. And then you start to see runs of certain players, which leads to people taking a player that they might not actually believe is more valuable than a different position, simply because the scarcity of that position in the draft. So I think that's typically what happens when you're seeing a player go higher in a startup than they do in a rookie draft. It comes down to the scarcity of the position when you're looking at roster construction. Whereas when most of us are in a rookie draft, we're just purely drafting. Well, as we're trying to teach everyone, and we're all learning together, right? We're not drafting for need in a rookie draft, right? We're strictly saying who is the most valuable player, both now and in the next year, that I can maximize the total value of this pick for my team. So I think that's potentially where the disconnect is, if I had to guess, as I'm on the clock here. But that would be my best guess. I'd love to hear some opinions from you guys in the chat, though. Let me know what your thoughts are. But that would be my best guess as to why we're seeing that happen more often. I'm not gonna lie, I still love the value of positional players here. I definitely didn't make that pick. I mean, did I not have like 5 seconds left? It auto-picked for me with 6 seconds left. Okay, interesting. Be aware that you might get auto-picked if you're not ready to go. Just writing down some feedback for the devs. Okay, so it is autoing early. Okay, so be aware of that. Get your picks in, or you could be autoed. But yeah, that would be my opinion on the reason as to why we're seeing players going differently, or valued differently rather, in a rookie draft compared to a startup draft. That would be my best guess as to why. All right, in round 3, we have Bo Nix, Lad McConkey, CJ Stroud, Hampton, Achane, Travis Hunter, Saquon Barkley, Trey McBride. I wanted to draft Trey McBride. That's unfortunate. Wasn't able to. After that, T-Mac and Mr. Brock Purdy are your picks. So nice little third round here. But again, appreciate y'all for being here with me. We got a little giveaway for you guys today. Nothing crazy, but still wanted to show y'all some love. It's a free trade question voucher on the Flock site. All you got to do is type land into the YouTube chat and like the stream. And also, we always say this, but in case you don't know, you're going to have to hang around to the end of this mock draft, right, to be valid, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not going to follow you up for something free that we're trying to give out as a thank you for you being here, right? So as long as you're here when we do the giveaway and we call out your name, we're going to give you that free trade question voucher, okay? I like the little start here from Mills at the 102 with the combination of Herbert, Daniels, Henderson, Bucky. That's a nice little start there. Obviously, we'll see how they fill out their wide receiver room, but I like the start they've got going on there as Garrett Wilson comes off the board at the 404. Man, I'll be honest, I recorded a video yesterday, and Garrett Wilson was a name that we talked about. Man, I want to hear your thoughts on Garrett Wilson, because it really feels like a make or break year for him. I don't want to say this publicly, but it does feel like we are entering DJ Moore territory. And when I say that, I mean, like, there got to a point where everyone loved DJ Moore, but they ran out of excuses for him at some point, as I'll take Jordan Love here in the 4th round as my first quarterback. And I just believe that if we have another, and by the way, he was fine last year. He wasn't mediocre. That's not what I'm saying. But if we don't have like this true breakout that we've all anticipated from him, I do think he's going to start getting the DJ Moore treatment, where it doesn't matter how talented he is, people are going to stop valuing him the way that they used to, right? I mean, there was a couple seasons there with DJ Moore, and maybe even now, where even though he was producing well, it was just like, I don't see the upside, I'm good, you know? So am I the only one that feels that way? I guess that will be my question, because it does feel like that is happening to him right now. Jonathan said, this is how I feel about Garrett Wilson. He says Wilson's going to have a DJ Moore type of year. Bear says, I would love that. JMO says, I think Garrett Wilson will remain steady. He makes huge plays, plus synergy with Fields will be solid. Matthew says, can't wait until Cam Ward's the best quarterback in the league. So Matthew's just here to talk about Cam Ward. And I can respect it. I can respect the hustle. I'm convinced that Matthew is from the Cam Ward camp. All right, he's campaigning. Okay, so last time this happened, people told me I had a setting on that I had to turn off. Is it autofocus? Is that the setting that I have to turn off so I can keep? I guess that was a setting that I had on that it kept dragging the board down. Is that the setting I had to turn off? Y'all let me know. Is that right? Bear says Fields targets is #1, so I think I'll have a good year. I think you and I are kind of in the same place there, in the sense of I would overall lean that direction as well. But man, I would be lying to you if I said it wasn't a scary year. Like, I've traded for DJ Moore or for Garrett Wilson in a couple leagues. Like, for example, our India league, I went out and traded for him this year. I'm going to try and contend. But even as someone who's traded for him and has done it with a little bit of confidence, you know, there's still a part of me, there's just this nagging feeling in the back of my head, like, oh, is this guy going to improve his value, or what's going to happen? Meta says, I would say he'll break out when he gets decent quarterback play. That's what we've been saying, though, since he entered the league. That's kind of, you know, how long do we say that? Joshua says, how do you bet against the guy that was a 0-star recruit? He's talking about Cam Ward. Jeb says, prayers and good vibes for Badaki surgery. Love that, man. That's okay, Mike. That's okay. We'll just keep campaigning for your states to be available on FastDraft. Sparrow says, I mean, he had a top 10 season last year. No. Like I said, I mean, I tried to preface it saying that he was not bad last year. I mean, I feel like I said that, no. But he was fine. He had a top 10 season, sure. But when you look at points per game, I feel like that's a better way to value him. And you guys will notice on our channel, we very rarely use a fantasy finish as a way to value what a player did for your roster. We're pretty much consistently looking at points per game because, like, at the end of the day, yes, okay, so Garrett Wilson finishes as a wide receiver 10 last year. That sounds great until you realize he averaged 14.8 points per game. That's like 14.8 points per game is not impressive. Like that is a fine middle of the pack. For example, Cooper Kupp last year. What did you think of Cooper Kupp last year? Well, they pretty much averaged the same amount of points per game, same as Jacoby Myers, right? So yes, it's impressive, but it's not like this isn't the guy that you drafted top 5 in your rookie draft expecting him to break out and be a superstar, a pillar for your team, right? 14.8 points per game is around wide receiver 21 on a per game basis. That is where I would value him. More like wide receiver 21 on a per game basis. And you got to keep in mind that this is why I consistently talk about the money stretch when I talk about players from one year to the next. I don't know how long you guys have been watching the channel, but you will notice that pretty much every year I talk about the money stretch, and I pretty much consider that rounds, it's either week 9 or 10 onwards. And that is typically, in my experience, where you can see the trends that will follow from one year to the next. And if you look at that money stretch, and we're going to compare him to a guy like Jackson Smith-Njigba, you have to keep in mind that Jackson Smith-Njigba really didn't take off until about week 9 or 10 onwards. Like he was a money stretch riser. If you look from week 9 onwards, JSN is averaging 18.2 points per game. 18.2 points per game. And that is definitely a guy that you're consistently wanting to put into your lineup. Garrett Wilson in that money stretch, under 14. He was a wide receiver 29 in that stretch. So, you know, again, these trends that we're looking at towards the end of the season are very important in how I sort of project the next season and value moving forward, right? Justin Fields just went in the 6th round. Am I losing my mind? We just saw Justin Fields go in the 6th round. I think I have officially lost my mind here. Did not anticipate that. What is happening? All right, I'm on the board here. I'm going to grab Ken Walker before I get auto-picked. Okay, it almost auto-picked me. I did not know what to do with that pick, but I knew I wouldn't have that last 6 seconds to actually make a decision there, unfortunately. So, okay, yeah. Why is Justin Fields going in the 6th round, though? The reason Justin Fields is super enticing this offseason, guys, is because you can get him at such a discount, right? We're talking like a mid-second round pick. Or we're talking about the 8th and 9th rounds of startups. When you put him in the 6th round, oh, that makes the price so difficult. I mean, Jackson Dart is there still. We saw Bryce Young go off the board. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too harsh. It just feels like we're not really getting a value at that point when we're taking Justin Fields that high. But anyway, great to hear your guys' thoughts on that money stretch. Bear says, does it worry you that London didn't have a great money stretch? It doesn't, because I more look at, again, trying to predict from one year to the next. The money stretch is helpful for the majority of cases. But when you have a situation like Drake London, where there was a change of quarterback play, you go from Michael Penix or from Kirk Cousins to Michael Penix, I would rather look at what did he do with Michael Penix and use that small sample size to try and reasonably predict the future rather than the money stretch there, you know? So, in that situation, I'm actually very hopeful because he was incredibly good with Michael Penix compared to what he was with Kirk Cousins. And the fact that Drake London still averaged like over 15 points per game with Kirk Cousins was terrible. That is great to hear. But also the fact that, you know, we saw a bunch of signs of life from him with Michael Penix is also very, very intriguing to me. All right, I am on the clock here. And in my opinion, the clear best player available, if we're basing this based off how people do rookie drafts, is Caleb Johnson. I mean, I'm consistently seeing Caleb Johnson go at the 108, the 109, the 110 in rookie drafts. And we just saw RJ Harvey at the 511 in this draft. So to get Caleb Johnson at the 705, even if I don't want to build around him long term, that felt like the most valuable player on the board at that moment. So that's where I'm going to go there. Angelic says, I traded Fields for Brandon Ayuk straight up. Is that a win? I like it for sure. Kieran says he wouldn't touch Garrett Wilson with a 10-foot pole. That is true. Adams took over. But you also now have to rationalize, yes, there should be a funnel of targets to Garrett Wilson, but how valuable are those targets with Justin Fields? As much as we, you know, want to talk about is Justin Fields going to be good or not for this offense, we all should recognize that a target from Justin Fields isn't as valuable as a target from most quarterbacks, you know. And you're also going to be a part of an offense that is very run heavy. I think we should anticipate a very run heavy approach from them. But love the conversation, guys. It's always fun to have these conversations with y'all. Appreciate everybody for being here with me. Do me a favor, smash that like button to show some love. Subscribe if you like the content. And we are doing a giveaway today. All you need to do is type LAND into the YouTube chat, LAND, and like the stream. That's as simple as it can possibly get. And we will do that giveaway at the end of today's stream. Bears, I think this is very much a bridge quarterback for the Jets. They signed him to a 2-year deal. And I think this is different than a normal bridge in the sense of, like, typically a bridge quarterback is like, we're looking for our future. I think they're going to give Justin Fields a chance to show that he's their future, but I think they were very strategic with that 2-year deal, because if he's not the guy this year, there's a lot of potential in the quarterback class in 2026, and I could easily see them addressing quarterback in that class should things go downhill. And let's be honest, Jets fans will probably tell you this as well. I don't think it would shock any of us if the Jets are just a disaster class this year. Would that shock anyone? Am I the only one that is sitting here saying, yeah, that wouldn't shock me? All right, so after I took Caleb Johnson, we had Ricky Pearsall, Terry McLaurin, Chuba Hubbard, Jalen Waddle, Pickens, Kittle, Judy, Higgins, Burden, Hawkinson, Jameson, and Montgomery all off the board. As Mr. Devontae Adams is off the board. Ryan takes Jack Besh. Man, I can't help but feel like in a startup, if this is a real startup, guys, and I am truly trying to draft for value and I'm not just putting together a team for the sake of positions, then Jackson Dart is the easiest pick here. Again, as I feel like I'm doing in that for the last 2 picks here at round 7 and round 8. I don't need a quarterback, no. But Jackson Dart is consistently going in the late first, and pretty much every player that went off the board in the 8th round, I'm not seeing a late first value for them in trade. So definitely didn't need to do that from a team construction perspective, but I did feel like Dart was the best value in this Superflex format. Bear says, the fact that they were 7-10 with Zach Wilson makes me think they could have a playoffs year, but I don't have much faith in Fields. I love it. Matthew says, we will not be top 8 pick. If we are, fire. Okay, so he's coming for the head of the head of the snake, if you will. Drew Aller to the Jets could be awesome. What's up, Jeb? He says, Zach, I always see you punting tight end in these startup mocks. What's your thought process behind that? Well, but again, I've said this a couple times on stream, but unless you're in a league that has a very heavy premium, I would rather trade for tight end after the startup, because in my opinion, for the most part, these premium tight ends are typically most expensive in your startups. Now, of course, we all know you can't trade for Brock Bowers, right? That's impossible. But even Sam Laporta, he had one bad year after having a historically good rookie season. He's easy to trade for this offseason in my leagues, right? George Kittle, he signs the extension, so now he's a little bit difficult. But TJ Hawkinson, who's still a very young guy, you know, is someone that you can trade for an early second in some leagues. So for me, it's just when I'm doing a startup, I'm typically looking at players that have the most value instead of like filling a hole on my roster. And just typically, there's only a very limited amount of names that I'm willing to spend up on for the tight end position. And ultimately, that's what leads me to doing a lot of startups where I don't prioritize the tight end position. And if you look just historically, the tight end position gives you the least points in your lineup on a per year basis, right? Of course, if you have Brock Bowers, it's a different situation, but we're talking like per position averages, right? So it just leads me to not really want to build around that position and try and hit on some upside with some other names. So that is my rationale. Is it flawed? Maybe. You guys can let me know. I'm sure you will. We're gonna grab Chris Godwin here at the 905 as our wide receiver 3. Josh says only concern with the Jets is can you get back into games when behind for sure. Matthew is going off. Yeah, I love it. He's going off on the staff. Aaron Glenn's a nice hire for you guys, though. What's up, McNugget? What's the outlook on Bateman? He'll have like 3 games that you wish you started him, and the rest of the time he'll be really frustrating. That's my outlook on him. Same with DeAndre Hopkins. And they're guys I don't mind taking a shot on in best ball, but I'm probably not having them over, you know, like they're not going to be rostered in a redraft league, for example. So Godwin off the board, Scatterboo, Evans, and Tootin also off the board there. What's up, Styles? Welcome in. Yeah, this is crazy to me that Jalen Milroe and Jackson Dart, there's only a pretty much a round and a half different between them. All right. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. We're having a lot of fun here. Hopefully you are too. We do have a giveaway today. It's a little giveaway. All right. A trade question voucher. All you got to do is type land into the YouTube chat and like the stream. That's as simple as it gets. Mike makes a great point here. He makes a great point. I can't deny it. Cool Man says I got cooked by the autos this draft. Honestly, I wish you guys may not have been on the channel when we were looking at Rashad Bateman's class, but I was obsessed with Rashad Bateman coming out. Obsessed with him. And I still love him as a prospect, but as soon as he went to the Ravens, I cried a tear of pain, and I tried to sell it to myself, and I just couldn't sell it to myself anymore. It was a death sentence all along. It was always a death sentence, unfortunately. I'm on the clock here. And also, I'm in the 10th round and I can get Mark Andrews. That feels like a steal to me in my rankings. So that's also one of the reasons why I don't go tight ends high, because I feel like I keep getting options later on down the board that are startable names. That's kind of consistently what keeps happening for me, at least. Love the A-Rich pick. Love the Darnold pick. I thought those guys were pretty good values down the board. As we see Jacoby Myers coming off the board there at the 10-12. Hey, guys. We are getting closer to the finish of this startup draft. I have a problem, and I have publicly acknowledged that I have a problem. But I am going to jump into a FastDraft tourney. I would love for you guys to join me. If you have never played on FastDraft before, very simple. Just download the app on any app store. Use the promo code LAND. We will match your deposit up to $50. That is 10 free drafts on us. Jump into a draft with me or draft on your own. And when you finish your first contest, I'll send you my rookie report and my season rankings completely free. I would love, love, love to get you into a lobby with me right now. Let's draft some rookies in this best ball style rookie only format. And there's also some very important news for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Fast Draft Friday, okay? And they are doing a little promotion deal right now, okay? If you want $100 free credit. So basically, you could sign up today, okay? You could get $50 credit, your deposit matched by me with the promo code LAND. And then if you draft tomorrow, you can actually get $100 in credit. All you have to do is draft 5 teams, all right? Go into their Discord and post in the Rate My Teams. That's as simple as it gets. And if you don't know, yes, they do have a Discord. I'll put a link in the chat here for anybody who wants to join the Fast Draft Discord. Let me copy this. But that's literally as simple as it gets. All you have to do to get $100 credit in your account is tomorrow on Fast Draft Friday. Tomorrow, draft in 5 contests, just 5 contests, and then post your results in Rate My Team. and you're going to get the $100 promotion. That's literally as simple as it could possibly get. So would love for you guys to join me over on the FastDraft app there, as I just got auto-picked Tuckercraft. That's hilarious. All right. So, I say I'm not going to focus on tight end, and then I go tight end back to back at the 10:08 and the 11:05. So that's awesome, isn't it? Shout out to auto pick. Aaron Jones at the 11:07. I actually like that value a lot. Then we get Zach Charbonnet at the 11:06. Dalton Kincaid as well. Not in Canada yet, Chef, but very soon. Very, very soon. Is it legal in every state? It's legal in most states. Let me show you guys. This is the map currently. I know that states in the works are New York, Pennsylvania, also Canada. Every province outside of Ontario is in the works. Ontario's just a little stubborn, but most states are available to draft in. Yes. Mike says Jersey and Connecticut, come on. I know, they'll be there soon. They'll be there soon. Matthew says, I will not be using FastDraft as they don't have Cam Ward quarterback one. You know what, Matthew? They actually do. They actually do have Cam Ward as quarterback one in the Origins tournament. So there you go. Dynasty Noob, what's up, man? He says, I traded Breece Hall for Jaden Blue and Javonte Williams too. Is that a troll or are you being real? I'm hoping that's a troll. For your own sake, I'm really hoping that's a troll. Please, I actually need to know. I need to know that that is a troll. Please, I'm begging you. He's trolling, okay. Dynasty Noob says, new subscriber, I got hooked because you're fire editor and content. I feel like I can learn so much from you, man. Thanks. Oh, I appreciate that. Very kind. We do love our editor over here. Okay, I'm on the board here. And it's just straight tied in after tied in going off the board there. Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot that's on the board that many of us would want at this point. So I'm just going to draft Jordan Mason. What does my lineup look like right now in this league? So we're starting Love, Goff, Achane, Walker, Neighbors, Collins, Godwin, Andrews, Jake, Caleb Johnson, Kraft. We have Dart on the bench as well as Mason. It's all right. Not obsessed with this one. Matthew says, this is not a troll. I got DJ Moore for Brian Robinson in the third. Wow. Huge W. Brandon says, traded Breece and Garrett for Saquon and Devonta Smith today. Sheesh. What's up, DRK? He says, how do we know what video Super Chats will be mentioned in? This is my first time. Plan to become a Mother Flocker member as soon as we get closer to football season. So, this is a great part about asking a question on our website. And this will be very important in season because the questions will be nonstop in season. But what happens is when we answer a question for you on the Flock site, you will be sent a time code directly to a link basically that has a time code directly to when we answered your question, right? So for example, earlier in the stream, I answered John Perry's question, right? When I hit next question and it was submitted, he was sent a time code to exactly when I discussed his trade question. So all he does is have to open up that link that's sent to you, and it goes directly to when we talk about your question. That's as simple as it can get, right? So that's a huge benefit of the site. Wow, Quentin Johnson. We got a Quentin Johnson believer in the house. All right, the slide will stop. We'll take Jalen McMillan here. Oh, I'll be honest. There's not much that was more frustrating this entire offseason than what happened to Jalen McMillan. Because he did everything right. He did everything right. The man had an opportunity. He stepped up and he produced. He looked fantastic. They definitely did not need wide receiver heading into the draft. And then, unfortunately, his value just got nuked. Oh, so frustrating, isn't it? No worries, DRK. As we see Woody Marks off the board here in round number 13. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. We are going to give away a free trade question voucher here in a second as well. To anybody who types land into the YouTube chat and likes the stream, you're going to have a chance to get in with us. That's true. They did get Tez. Bear says, I drafted McMillan in the 9th 2 weeks before the draft. Oh, no. And at the time, you were probably so excited about that. Angelic says, what are your thoughts on new leagues requesting 3 years advance payment in advance? My thoughts are that clearly your league doesn't trust each other. I think 2 years is reasonable. You know, 2 years seems pretty reasonable to me. 3 years seems a little bit overkill. And to me, it's an indication that you're probably in a league with people you don't know that well. Is that right in saying that? Would you say that's accurate? Let me know. But that would be my overall inclination there. Oh, this is me. I was waiting for me to get on the board. Okay. We'll go Pat Bryant here. He says, brand new startup seems crazy to me. Yeah. Mike says, my league requires you to pay for the year of the picks you're trying to trade for. That makes sense. That definitely makes sense, yeah. No one knows each other personally, but I'm in 40 leagues like that. Yeah. That makes sense, and I have no problem with like the idea of like you have to pay for the picks. Like if you trade away your 2028 first round pick, then yeah, your buy-in should be submitted at that point if you do that to yourself. All right, appreciate y'all for being here with me, man. As Mr. Kelsey comes off the board. He is one of those last picks. Cade says, I got sniped so many times. Yeah. We definitely got to fix that auto bug. Definitely got to fix that auto bug. All right, let's have a look at the post-draft review. Okay. So it looks like if we use... Oh, okay. I guess this is consensus rankings, maybe. But shout out to Colossal Titan, who had the best draft according to expert consensus rankings. Shout out to you, my friend. All right, guys, we are going to switch focus a little bit here. We'll do this giveaway as well. It's for a free trade question voucher. Nothing crazy today, all right? But we can't do a crazy giveaway every day. All right, let's see. All right, so we have 19 submissions. All right, so this is one of your best chance to win a giveaway for us this year. All right, so let me go ahead and spin the wheel here. The winner of our free trade question voucher, it is going to, oh my gosh, so close between Hanif, but it is going to be MFRIAR. Is MFRIAR in the chat with us? Let me see. Let's see. Are you here, MFRIAR? Let's see. I'm going to try and find that name. If we don't hear from them in the next 5 minutes, I will re-roll as well. I definitely saw them. They're here. That's awesome. Okay, MFRIAR, all I need from you is tell me, what is your Flock Fantasy username? Tell me your Flock Fantasy username, my friend. And then tell me your Discord. So say Flock username, say it, enter. And then Discord username, say it, enter, right? And let me know. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm glad we actually got it to you. So you're going to get that free trade question voucher in your account here very, very soon. And we are going to go to some team playbooks. Appreciate y'all for being here with us. Bear says my draft was the best according to expert myself rankings. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right, we got a super chat here from Spherical Jet as I wait for information from MFR. He says, do you think Fields has more upside than Murray? And then he also left a little bit more detail in the chat on the back end. Okay, this is your username here. Okay, cool. Okay. All right, and then we also had a little bit more information here from Spherical Jet on the back end. Let me see here. Let me gather this information. So he said, I'm thinking of trading up to the 104, trading the 108, 205, 210, and maybe I throw in Murray, but then receive Fields in return, or should I leave quarterbacks out of it? I think Fields could be a better quarterback. We'll follow your advice. I could also remove the 210 instead, and adding quarterbacks as Kyler is a win for him. Yeah, I think you're paying way too much, personally. I like the idea of going from the 108 to the 104, but I hate the idea of throwing in the quarterbacks. I think both myself, everyone on the Flock site, as well as most consensus rankings out there would pretty comfortably have Kyler Murray ahead of Justin Fields by a pretty healthy margin. I just think there is more sustained success, even though neither of them have really been superstars by any means. But there's just a lot more sustained success for Kyler Murray. So I would definitely not swap out Kyler Murray for Justin Fields, as well as give up the 108, 205, 210 just for the 104. It looks like that's what you're trading for. So that would be a hard pass for me. Yeah, definitely not going to be doing that. We've also got another super message here from Spherical Jet. So let me get into this one. He says, trade 2026 picks and the 102 to trade up to the 101. He says, not sure if there's enough of a gap between Hampton and Genty to justify maybe trading a future first and a third, or first. What do you guys think? Look, I would say, look, if you're a contender, I don't mind the idea. If you believe that your 2026 first is truly going to be a late first round pick, then I actually don't mind the idea of, you know, kind of going in that direction where you can justify sending a late first in Hampton to get to Genty. But for pretty much the majority of every other situation, for example, if it's your own pick and you don't feel confident that you're going to be like the true number one favorite, unquestioned favorite, then you should probably just hold on to your picks and take Amari on Hampton, because Hampton is still going to be a very successful fantasy football running back, right? So I think it comes down to the pick that you're sending and what sort of value it has. So If that's definitely going to be like a 111, 112 late first, then I don't have a problem with it. But if there's a chance that it's a mid first, if there's a chance that it's an early first, then no, I think we're just going to stick with Amarian Hampton. I mean, you're still getting a great answer to a running back need that you may or may not have, right? So hopefully that makes sense. All right, I currently have 2 team playbooks I'm going to do today. And I have room for another one if there are people out there who want to get their team playbook done today. No pressure, but you can get a same day playbook from me if you'd like to. Playbook is a customized game plan for your off season, what trades to make, what to do with your draft capital. We can give that to you by you becoming a promo code LAND annual Mother Flocker member. You'll get a voucher that you can use through the Flock store. Just make sure you choose Zach Badaki after you choose team review, and make sure you slide that slider up to live. It's a $7 upgrade for members, $10 upgrade for non-annual members. And right now, when I'm looking at my back end here, that's what she said. Late Galishes, number 1, you're currently offline. I sent you a message if you want to upgrade, okay? And I need your sleeper ID to give you a team playbook, okay? Number 2 is Frodo, same thing. I'm gonna assume yours is offline, but I sent you a message there. Wolfman has already replied to me saying he's happy with offline. So the 2 playbooks we're gonna do today is number 1, Zabsocal, and J Lussy 92. Those are the 2 playbooks we're 100% going to get to today. But there is still space for another team playbook. I put a link in the chat for you guys. You can either become an annual member, right? Or you can purchase one through the Flock store. Completely up to you. Obviously, there are benefits to becoming an annual member, and you can see some of those benefits on the screen there for you now. All right. Full transparency, it is going to be a little bit different today because typically Badaki is doing a lot on the back end while I'm going through your review. And I'm going to have to do some of that solo dolo today. But yeah. So, and before I forget, let me ask our devs to give that trade question voucher to our winner today. So let me do that now. Hold on. Hold up. Okay, apologies guys, it's just me, but trying my best. Okay, sweet. So MFRIAR, you should have a free trade question voucher in your account within the next 24 hours, my friend. All right, let's get to this first team playbook, shall we? All right, Zabsocal, appreciate you for being here, man. It is a super flex 10-team start 9. So when we look at a team like that, we are looking at a meat and potatoes starting lineup here, okay? And he says, I am looking to make some pre-draft trades. I am also looking for some advice on bench players, who to drop, etc. Okay, team name looks like it starts with a Z. So you're Zabsocal, and that puts you at 9th overall right now. So let's have a look here. Got a decent amount of draft capital, which is great. We'll add that to your review here. And we will definitely help you kind of figure out what to do with that. But we've got Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. I definitely like that quarterback room. There's not really like a top 5 name there right now from like a points per game perspective or like a dynasty rankings perspective, but it's a very solid group. And I have to be a little bit more harsh when I grade a team like this because it is a 10-team league. So you really need these top-end names, to make a difference. Not only is it a Smart League 10-team, but it's also a start 9. So you kind of have a double dose here of, you need to have a very, very solid roster across the board. Sorry, I keep itching my nose here. I don't know why, but it's so itchy today. But you've also got Bucky Irving, Kamara, Connor Swift, Etienne, Garrett Wilson, Worthy. The wide receiver room, not going to lie, falls off pretty hard there. Kyle Pitts, you don't really have a starting tight end that you can rely on. So that is a little bit unfortunate. Now, thinking about a team like this, we have the 102, we have the 110. Your starting lineup right now is probably Mahomes, Herbert. Then I imagine we're going to go Hampton, Bucky. Then Garrett, Worthy, Pitts. You can only start 2 more names, which would probably be Kamara and Connor, or Kamara, Downs, Sutton, Pittman, Coleman. There's enough there to kind of put a team together, right? Now, the good news is the 102, the 110, and the 202 are pretty valuable in this class. And the 202 in particular in your league is more like the 112 in value because it is a 10-team league. So you definitely are going to have a chance to improve this roster. Overall, though, I would say this is more C+ than it is like a true like favorite in your league. So I would say overall team grade, I will put like a C+ for this one. Draft capital grade, you got 2 good picks this year. I'll put more of a B+. You got all of your picks in the future, which is great. So you're gonna be able to control your destiny a little bit there. As far as your main pathway going forward, I do think this is a soft contender. I wouldn't say you're like a true favorite, but you definitely have enough names that can put you into the playoffs, right? The combination of a Mahomes, a Herbert, Bucky, Kamara, Wilson, and then what we do at the 110 and the 102 and the 202, that's enough to kind of get you into the playoffs. To be honest with you, man, you don't have a single untouchable on this roster, so I can't really put anyone on that list. As far as holds, though, I definitely like the idea of holding a Josh Downs, a Keon Coleman. I'd love to see what he can be in his year number 2. And then you've got plenty of drops you can make here in a 10-team league. We don't need to roster Hendon Hooker, really, at this point. Devontae Walker is definitely a name that you could drop at this point. Michael Wilson in a 10-team. Will Disley. All these guys are very easy drops. Now, going to the waiver wire. First off, I think names like Spencer Rattler are a little bit interesting just because it's most likely Shuck, but he's an interesting pickup. Joe Milton, same thing. Kendre Miller is worth a pickup, in my opinion. Same with like a Miles Sanders in Dallas. But those are really the main. I mean, Mike Gesicki, actually Ben Sinnott. You should definitely pick up Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott should be your number 1 priority pickup. I know he hasn't done anything, but with that draft capital, it's worth at least holding him on a team and seeing what he could do in year number 2. But yeah, I definitely think we can soft contend with a roster like this. But again, I'm going to look at some of the other teams in your league, and I imagine some of them are pretty stacked. Yeah, exactly. So this is what I mean. Like a 10-team league, there's a lot of stacked teams out there. I mean, this guy is just ridiculous. He's dominating this league. So you're going to have a difficult time in the playoffs winning a championship with a team like this, but I definitely think you can get into the playoffs, and then from that point onwards, literally anything is possible. I might err towards like trying to send that 102 away for a top receiver, like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, a Nico Collins, a Drake London. That might be one of the moves that I'd like to make here, but if you were to stick and pick, I have no problem with going Amarion Hampton there at the 102. He's a great option for your team and definitely helps your overall starting lineup. At the 110, you're going to have plenty of options. And let me pull them up for you. Man, my nose is so itchy right now. What in the world? So at the 110, you'll have plenty of options there between the RJ Harveys, the Johnsons, the Egbukas, Loveland, etc., right? And at the 202, one of these guys is going to be available as well. So you're going to have a chance to add 3 really impactful names. Now, I might prefer, actually, with your specific team, to trade for a star receiver instead. So, for example, can we send that 102 away and can we target a Drake London? Right? Can we get a Nico Collins and potentially something more on top? We'll have to figure that out. Can we find a way to get an Amon-Ra St. Brown on the team if we do like the 102 plus something? For example, the 102 and Josh Downs, the 102 and Swift, the 102 and Pittman. You know, that type of deal I would love to get done, and you might have to pay a little more for for Amon-Ra, but that's kind of like the base structure of it. So this guy could definitely use running back. So I'd be curious if he would be interested in like a Swift Downs, like the 102 and DeAndre Swift, and maybe you add like a second onto that, a future second onto that. Would that be something that he would be interested in? Would he need more? Would he need less? Maybe that's the second offer that you send. You see if he's just interested in like this first idea, and then you can explore the idea beyond that. I'd love to see who has like an excess at wide receiver. Is there any team there that has like an excess at wide receiver? The guy who has a Amon-Ra has a great wide receiver room, so he actually might be an ideal target. Same thing with Drake London. That guy needs a running back. So I wouldn't mind even if you did like a Diggs and Swift swap for the London side of this. So 102 plus DeAndre Swift for Drake London and Stephon Diggs, for example, right? If he's looking to add to that running back room, I think that would be a great outcome for both of your teams. But yeah, adding a Drake London, a Nico, and a Amon-Ra would be ideal here at the 102. And then you can still come down the board and add an RJ Harvey to your running back room. And then, you know, if you wanted to add a Colson Loveland, Tyler Warren, you could consider doing that at the 202, given that you have massive needs at tight end and they might be the best available players anyway. So those two moves could definitely make a lot of sense. I am just trying to figure out if there's another deal out there that might make sense as well. Look, you can try for CeeDee Lamb. He's very affordable right now, but that guy doesn't really need running back help. I think those are your main options there if you're going to go wide receiver. One of those three names would be actually incredible for you. Alternatively, what you can do is if you trade this pick and you do get a wide receiver, then you can consider moving the 110. Let's say the 110 and, you know, a future third or something. Right now, very cheap names in the industry. Jonathan Taylor, very affordable. Breece Hall, very affordable. And it depends on your league. Not every league is going to accept a deal like that, but there are plenty of leagues out there that will. Definitely don't include your 202 in that. If you do the 110 and the 202, I think it would be an overpay for those names, considering you can potentially land like a Harvey and a Johnson anyway at those spots. But that would be an ideal outcome. But as we're trying to contend with this roster, I'm probably not going to suggest to sell a Bucky, to sell a Kamara, to sell a Connor. Maybe if we were not contending, we might do something like that, but that's not the situation we currently find ourselves in. There's no premium, so you know I don't hate the idea of getting a tight end in the draft and not forcing it in a trade. You could also try and package, because it's a start 9, such a small lineup. Could you find an Xavier Worthy home? Like if you packaged Worthy and Keon Coleman or something, you know, I know we don't want to move Coleman, but depends on what we can get. If we can move Worthy, Coleman, and the 202, which is actually the 112, I'd love to see if there's a team that could use some wide receiver depth. So let's see here. Is there a team that has like a top name, like a Lad McConkey would actually be pretty interesting. I think we might be able to even go like Lad McConkey and Pickens or Lad McConkey and Charbonnet at that point. That might be something worth trying. Pickens might be too expensive. It depends on your league, but at minimum, you could probably add Jonnu Smith onto a deal like that. And again, it depends on your league, of course. Neighbors is unrealistic. CeeDee Lamb, honestly, you might not be far off. If you went like Worthy, Coleman, and then... I don't want to really sell your future first because I think your team could be middle of the pack. So maybe that's not an ideal target there. But yeah, those are some ideas I would say. We're definitely contending. I gave you a couple ideas where you kind of, you know, get an impact wide receiver. My ideal outcome for a team like this is let's land a London, Collins, Amon-Ra. Okay, let's land that with the 102. And then after we do that, we can look at trading for a Taylor or Breece Hall. If not, just stick and pick a Harvey, a Johnson, and we can also look at tight end with that 202. So that's the direction I would take this team. Definitely think you're a contender, and appreciate you for letting me review the squad, man. Appreciate you big time. Very kind of you. Appreciate you, H. Hud. Very kind. Yes, there was a giveaway. It was earlier today. But there was a giveaway. Yes, sir. But we will get to one more team playbook here. We have a DRK here submitted a super message, actually, so I'll reply to that. Allens, Daniels, Chase. Bad to go Chase at the 101 in Superflex. Yeah, look. DRK, are you still with us? Because I would need some extra context to a question like this. Because we just reviewed a team that was start 9, right? A meat and potatoes lineup. A Superflex start 9. That's a very small league. And that league, I guess you can rationalize doing that. But if you're in like a 12-team league with a start 10, something basic like that, then I would not take Chase over those 3 quarterbacks, personally. Over those 2 quarterbacks, rather. Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels. So I definitely think you could rationalize it, but in a Superflex format, those top-end quarterbacks typically have the most value. And if you think about it, even from a longevity perspective, Chase is going to be good for a long, long time. But if Jaden Daniels is just consistently who he was last year, then he's going to carry a lot more value for a longer period of time. But I'm trying to nitpick here. But overall, unless it's a small league, I probably wouldn't be interested in doing that. All right, last team playbook for today. Of course, you have time to make a submission if you'd like to, but no pressure. All right, I'll pin the comment actually for the team playbooks. Let's see, let's pin that comment here in the chat. Okay, that comment is now pinned. But you can submit a team playbook if you'd like to today and get a same day review. Now, I will say, guys, that because Badaki is obviously going into surgery today, the turnaround on the playbook might be a little bit longer, like 1 or 2 days than normal. But Jay Lucy is here. Jay Lucy 92. It's a 1 quarterback, 10-team start 8. So it's actually another meat and potatoes lineup, but this is a 1 quarterback version of the meat and potatoes start 8. So you can only flex 2 spots. It's not a very big starting lineup, and it's only a 10-team league. So we're definitely going to be focused more on premium players in a format like this. All right, he says, I also have 27 first, second, third, couldn't add. I'm getting questions about Jacobs, wondering if I should trade him for the 105 for Henderson Judkins and get younger, or even try for the 102 for Hampton, or ride out my team because I won last year. Also targeting tight end and draft maybe. Any tips on my team are appreciated. Okay, first things first. Well, your name is Tiggle Giddies, or Tiggle Gritties. Okay. Wow. What number is this? This is number 384. We might be making some history today, ladies and gentlemen. Because in the entire history of the team playbook, there have been 2 teams that have been graded out as a Thanos team. Now, this is number 384. So, 0.5% of the time, we get a Thanos pathway. It's very rare. We only hold that tag for the elite of the elite teams, okay? And I have a feeling we might add to that history today. So, his starting lineup is Jalen Hurts, Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Jefferson, Neighbors, McBride. And he can only start 2 more names, which you can choose between Achane, Jacobs, JSN, McConkey, and we're talking about names like Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Ricky Pearsall, and they don't even make an impact on your roster. I think we're going to make some history today, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be the 3rd team all time, and I did not expect this to happen today, but this is going to be the 3rd team all time that we label a Thanos team. Now, full transparency, there's a reason there aren't many Thanoses on our streams, because typically those people are pretty comfortable with their team and they don't really seek any help. But I can respect someone here like Jay Lucy who's saying, you know what? All I want to do is just continually contend. I just want to keep contending at every point I possibly can. So that is what Jay Lucy is doing here. This is a Thanos. Okay? No doubt about it. We are 100% a Thanos team. Congratulations on building an absolute monster of a lineup. You are probably going to be the champion again this year and maybe next year and the year after that. You have built an absolute monster of a squad. We're giving your overall team a grade of A+. Okay, A+ squad. It doesn't get higher than that. As far as draft picks, you don't have your first and 26. I couldn't care less with the team that you've built. But I will say your draft capital grade is more like a C+ without your own future first. But again, this is one of the best teams we have ever seen on our streams. When we look at untouchables for a team like this, I mean, how much space do we have on the playbook to put untouchables? Jameer Gibbs is a name. Bijan Robinson is a name. Justin Jefferson is a name that you could mention. Malik Neighbors is a name that you could mention. You could mention Trey McBride, right? This is... I don't know exactly how to help a team like this, but I love that we get to look at these teams every once in a while. So now we have 3 teams all time that have the Thanos tag. That means 0.78% of teams, 0.8%, let's say, of teams ever submitted get the Thanos tag. So first off, congratulations. Can we take a moment here and just give a round of applause? I mean, you've done one hell of a job building an absolute monster squad. And you know, if anything, congratulations on winning your championship and congratulations on dominating your Dynasty league. Now, man, like beyond that, the holds on this team, Ricky Pearsall I would consider a hold, but it's funny because I will actually maybe suggest we can move off of any name. But Ricky Pearsall comes to mind. Jalen Waddle. Drops on this team. If you wanted to make a drop, you could drop Jalen Wright, but you definitely don't have to do that. Jalen Wright would be the one name I would point to. On the waiver wire, I do like Isaac Horindo if you have any space post the draft. Isaac Horindo is definitely a name that you could look at picking up. Roman Wilson is a name that is at least intriguing. They want to give him more work. I don't know if he can be that guy for them, but my gosh, I mean, all right, let's look at the 110 for a team like this. Okay, so they have the 110. They also have the 207. They also have the 308. And look, typically what we do is we talk through teams and we say, man, you know, there's a potential hole on this lineup. We can fill this with the draft capital either by picking a player or by, you know, trading the pick. I don't know why I would pick with a team like this. Okay, again, it's a small league because it's a 10-team league. It's a small lineup, a meat and potatoes start 8. And let me just double check on the back end. I'm going to cross-reference this and make sure that it's a start 8 before I give out any more advice. But I would definitely lean towards the idea, and it is a start 8, yeah. I would definitely lean towards the idea of how many times can we upgrade this roster? Okay, because already in a start 8, Hurts, Gibbs, Bijan, Achane, Jefferson, Neighbors, JSN, Ladd. That's 8 people I've already named. I didn't even talk about Trey McBride. So you're already going to have names like Jacobs, Tracy, Smith, Waddle, Pearsall, Purdy, who, when your team is healthy, you're probably not even going to use these guys in your lineup. So my suggestion is going to be, how far can we tier up? Can I do JSN plus the 110? And what would that net me? Like, what outcome could I have? In fact, I don't even really want to explore the idea of drafting a rookie. I just want to tier up as much as I can and get these monster names on my lineup. What does JSN in the 110 get me? What does, you know, Devonta Smith plus Jalen Waddle plus the 110? What does that net my roster? Okay. Can I send the 207 and Trey McBride and go get Brock Bowers? Okay, do I need to add Tyrone Tracy in there? I don't know. Like, what is possible with a roster like this? These are the type of questions I'm asking myself pretty much across the board at every single point. So if we were to do, I really don't even want to sell JSN. Let's start with Devonta Smith. So let's go Devonta Smith. Oh, okay. Well, actually, the first question that you asked is if you should trade Josh Jacobs for the 105. First off, if that offer is out there, yes, please go get that. If you can get Josh Jacobs for the 102 you mentioned, then yes, these are, I will just say, no-brainer deals, right? If you can somehow move off of Josh Jacobs before he reaches any cliff and get into a running back class that has 5 running backs already have ranked higher than Josh Jacobs, then yes, please do so. So, for example, like if you look at my rankings at the running back spot, okay, let's have a look. I have 1 Ashton Genty, 2 Amarion Hampton, 3 Henderson, 4 Judkins. All those guys are comfortably ranked ahead of Josh Jacobs, okay? So if you can land any one of those names, Judkins, Henderson, Hampton, or Genty, you can't get Genty, but I would be happy with Henderson or Judkins. Like, in pretty much every league I'm in, you can't trade, you can't get the 107 for Josh Jacobs. So if that's possible, if you can get the 105, if you can get the 104, if you can get the 106 for Josh Jacobs and get ahead of that, it's a no-brainer deal. Because, quite frankly, you're not even going to start Josh Jacobs. You might as well get a Hampton, Henderson, or Judkins, and you don't even have to rely on them from day one. They're going to be on your bench just kind of waiting, to gain value. So, 100%, I would be all aboard the idea as I'm jumping into a fast draft tourney here on the back end as well. We got into a tourney here. It looks like I'm at the 103. We've got Hampton at the 103, and TD Vultures is with us as well. I'll tell you what comes around to my next pick there. But trying to stay on track here, ultimately, like, you're not even going to need your RB4 on a team like this. So, yes, that is a no-brainer. When we look at a JSN plus a 110, can we turn JSN plus the 110, and can we look at our wide receiver rankings and say, okay, can we turn that into a Neighbors, a Thomas, a Puka? What you already have Malik Neighbors, don't you? Yeah. Okay, so let's say Brian Thomas, right? Can we turn that into a Puka Nacua? Maybe in these deals, can you net a second round pick in the future? I don't know. Like, is that possible? Is that not? You'll know your league better than me. But pretty much across the board, can I do that type of deal? Get a Brian Thomas, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, and the 110 for Brian Thomas. Can I do that for Puka Nacua? Like, these are the type of deals I'm trying to do pretty much across the board with a roster like this. So, if anything, all I can say is, like, congratulations on the roster. You really don't need to make a single move. You're going to be the favorite for the next 3 or 4 years anyway. But those are the type of moves that I might make if I had your team. And ultimately, the best thing I can say is congratulations on building one hell of a team. You are the 3rd person in the entire history of the playbook to receive the Thanos tag. So I appreciate you big time, my friend. Thanks for letting me review that squad. All right. We are in a fast draft Origins tourney. Y'all know I've been addicted to these Origins tourneys here. And it looks like the first round went Genty, Ward, Hampton, McMillan, Henderson, Hunter, Judkins, Harvey, Johnson, Golden, Egbuka, Higgins, Harris, Shuck, Dart, Tootin. And a lot of you guys might be confused, like, wait, why is Shuck going so high, for example? Well, let me explain that in a second, right? Because in these tourneys, I'll go Tyler Warren here. In the Fast Draft Origins tourney, the only question that you're asking yourself is who's going to score the most points in their rookie season. It's a rookie-only best ball style tournament. You draft 6 players. The top 4 get entered into your lineup every week automatically. Best ball style tournament, $25,000 prize pool available. And that's why you're seeing some of these guys. The ADP looks a little bit different, right? I'll put a link in the chat if you guys want to draft with me ever on the Fast Draft app. You can check out our link tree. It's the second link there. If you use the promo code LAND, we'll match your deposit up to $50 and you'll get about 10 free drafts on us. But that's why you're seeing names like Tyler Shuck at the 204, because people believe he's going to start this year. And ultimately, in a best ball tournament like this, quarterbacks are going to score a lot of points if they have a chance to start, even if they're bad. But that's why you're seeing names like Higgins and Trey Harris so high. Names like, Tootin and Scatterboo going where they are. So that is the nature. That's why you're seeing Luther Burden fall, right? Because people aren't really sure if they can trust his production here in year number 1. But we end up with Hampton Warren to start. I'm not going to lie, I definitely wanted to grab like a Scatterboo or Tootin at the 208, but this ADP is always interesting, man, because it really, people are putting their money on the line, and it really tells you exactly how people value these players in year 1, like the projections they have for each of these players in year 1, as Woody Marks comes off the board there, then Jarquez Hunter. Yeah, Shedeur Sanders does make sense as like a dart throw here, doesn't he? Yeah, YOLO. We'll go Shedeur Sanders here. What's up, Fantasy Football Garage? Welcome in, my friend. ADPs are sharp lately. Yeah, they're definitely picking up. I'm just catching up your guys' comments on that Thanos team we just reviewed. Style says, Zach about to make a playbook, and all it will say is, you won. As we see, Tesla. Wow, that's the earliest I've seen Tesla go. I haven't seen Tesla go that early. As Devin Neal comes off the board, I keep taking Brashard Smith. I'll go Pat Bryant here. I've got so much Brashard Smith. I think I need to get a little investment elsewhere if I can. Okay. After I went Pat Bryant, we have Trevor Etienne off the board, then Mr. Dylan Sampson as well. Alec A.O. Manor. I'll show you guys my exposure right after this, because I'm trying to get my exposure up for certain players. It's tough because you don't want to draft too much of your my guys in a league like this. I know that sounds weird. I know that sounds almost counterintuitive, but you kind of want to spread your seed a little bit. Yeah, rough image, right? But yeah, it's not actually going to be helpful in a tournament like this if you have 80% ownage of a player, 80% rostership rather. So yeah. As we see Will Howard, I like the Will Howard pick as well. What the hell is going on with Aaron Rodgers? What's up, Huber? Are you in this draft with me? I think you might be the Huber on the end there at the 109. That might be you. Fantasy Football Garage says, with Addison potential 3-game suspension, Felton could get some early run. That is fair. That's definitely something I haven't even thought about. Definitely fair. Appreciate y'all for being here with me today, guys. I know it's just a one-man band today, but I'm still having fun. Obviously, shout out to Badaki, who is about to, I think he's probably in his surgery right now. Obviously, planned surgery, so don't worry, guys. He's okay. I really like Torrey Horton. I'll keep batting some Torrey Horton stock. What's up, Jake? He says, is Brian Thomas still a top 6 receiver with Hunter landing there? Yes, he absolutely is. And my cornerstone rankings are going to come out on Monday for you guys on the channel. And I talk about Brian Thomas in those in that video. I'll just say overall, I'm really confused by people now being less in on Brian Thomas than they were before. Like, I guess I understand it to a point because Travis Hunter is there, but when someone shows you over the course of a season that they have the upside to be an all-time great, and I know that sounds hyperbolic, but it's not. He showed us that he has the potential to be an all-time great. I'll take some Ty Felton. Then you should probably trust that guy, right? I mean, what Brian Thomas did as a rookie, there's only like 5 receivers that have done that in the past 2.5 decades. When you look at the fantasy points he put up, the receptions, the receiving yards, he was dominant. And he did it with Mac Jones. I mean, you think about a team like this, who are they going to funnel targets through, guys? Christian Kirk is gone, right? He's gone from the team. Evan Ingram is gone from the team. So it's really just, I mean, with all due respect to Parker Washington, who I like, I mean, there are enough targets to feed the families of Travis Hunter and Brian Thomas, you know? So I'm confused why he's more affordable after the draft. I think we all agree that he's like on track to be one of the all-time greats, even though it's only 1 year. But yeah, I guess I'm just a little bit perplexed by the switch up, I guess, as it were, in people's minds. But we end up with a little Amarion Hampton, Tyler Warren, Shador Sanders, Pat Bryant, Torrey Horton, and Ty Felton. I like that a lot. If I go to my portfolio here and I look at the Gamma tournament, at the moment, we have 30% exposure of JCM. Oh no, this is exposing me. Look at my second highest exposed player. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm so sorry. I would like to publicly apologize to everybody. I'd like to publicly apologize. But he's always there in the 4th round. All right. I don't know what to say. He's always there in the 4th round. All right. I'm not doing this on purpose. He's just, no one's drafting him in the fast draft tournaments like they are in sleeper. Okay. So I'm trying to take advantage of that if I can. I'll probably jump into one more tourney here to end the day. I appreciate y'all for being here with me. If you haven't joined FastDraft just yet, you can download the app, use the promo code LAND at sign up. We'll match your deposit up to $50. That is 10 free Origin tourneys on us. And when you finish your first contest, I'm going to send you my rookie report and my season rankings completely free. I don't know why I said that way. Okay. All right. You know what? That's on me. Maybe that's enough for today. But I do have to let you guys know that there is a nice little promo for any of our Fast Draft family. For anybody who is Team Fast Draft, tomorrow is a great day to get into some tournaments. Let me tell you why, okay? Because they're doing this promo right now, which I have not seen them done since we joined, where tomorrow and tomorrow only, all right, for Fast Draft, you can get $100 in promo credits. Think about that. That is, you can basically join. I mean, is that 20 free drafts on the Origins tourney? You can get 20 free drafts, basically. So let me walk you through this in right now. Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys. Sorry. Apologies. Okay, so for tomorrow, Fast Draft Friday, okay? Fast Draft Friday, all you have to do is draft 5 teams, okay? Draft 5 teams, and then all you need to do is post one of those teams into the Rate My Team feature over on their Discord. You see this Rate My Team feature? I'm going to invite you to join the Fast Draft Discord if you'd like to. And once you have finished 5 tournaments, and you've put them in the Rate My Team section, then you are going to get $100 credits from the Fast Draft team. So that is available to anybody out there. But look, I appreciate y'all big time. A little bit of a weird stream for sure. Apologies. But I had a lot of fun still, and I appreciate y'all for being here and being a part of what we're doing. I'd like to end today's stream with maybe I'll answer 3 of your questions just randomly. To the 98 people out there watching, I'm going to answer 3 questions at random to end today's stream, and I'm going to call it a day. The other thing I will say is definitely go subscribe to our redraft channel if you have yet to do so. First video on the redraft channel. First video comes out on Monday. Okay, first video comes out on Monday on the redraft channel. I'm very excited for it, and excited for you guys to watch it. So definitely subscribe over there. Tyson says Hurts for A-Chan.
Stroud in a mid-second next year. I'm very young team. Want to get second quarterback at the same age range. Hurts for Achane, Stroud in a mid-second. Look, I guess this depends on how you view Stroud. I think there's a chance Stroud could be the next Trevor Lawrence in the sense of like not a lot of rushing upside. Not a ton of rushing upside. Needs a high amount of touchdowns per year to be good for fantasy football. And I don't know. I feel like you're a little bit underselling Jalen Hurts in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. Badaki is here. He says, I'll rip one before I get cut open. Are you in the hospital right now? Like, where are you, Badaki? That's funny. Harvey or Caleb, if both are available, Mike says. My take on this has been in half PPR, you can go Caleb. In full PPR, I'll go Harvey. That's been my take on that this offseason. I also think that Jaylen Warren is going to still have a role there. Prod by Kel, what's up? He says, would you trade Benson and Waddle to get Rome Odunze? Wow, that's a good question. I probably would. I think you can probably net like a third back in return, but I probably would. 50 Cal says, Pat Mahomes, JJ McCarthy, and a first for Lamar. My God. That seems like an insanely high price. That seems like way too much to pay for Lamar. Am I the only one who feels that way? I don't know. Maybe I am. Jeb says, what's your favorite team? I think my favorite team right now in Dynasty, it's a good question. I mean, I probably would lean my golf league, which we just drafted yesterday. I think the golf league is probably my favorite league right now. My favorite team that I own. We have Daniels, Bucky, Kin, Lamb, London, McBride, Brian Thomas, Higgins, Rice, Goff, Fields. We just drafted Harvey yesterday. Jalen Knoll, Addison, Njoku. We still have our first next year. And a 2 firsts in 2027. I think that's probably my favorite team that I've ever drafted. And I already built out a really nice squad. I got a really good deal on CeeDee Lamb a couple years ago. That helped. I sold Patrick Mahomes really high last year. And I'll tell you the return I got for him. Let me find it. But selling Mahomes was huge. And that's why it's important not to play with your heart. Because, yes, I am a Chiefs fan. But I was very comfortable to sell Mahomes. So this was right after the rookie draft, okay? We sent away Patrick Mahomes and Parker Washington. We got back Jaden Daniels, Brian Thomas, a first in 25 and a first in 27. So obviously at that time, Jaden Daniels was like quarterback 15 in Dynasty overall rankings. Brian Thomas was like wide receiver 40, right? And Pat Mahomes was still like a top 5 quarterback. So that definitely, I think you build the best teams by selling players at the right time, which is why, as tough as it is to hear, the best time to sell Josh Allen, if you're wanting to think about the future, is right now. Now, of course, if you're a team that is out there contending, you might not want to sell Josh Allen, and I have no problem with you holding on to him. But typically, the way that you stay ahead in Dynasty is if you can hit the right trades where you're cashing in on these tear downs a year before, like a year early, right? And that's always hard to predict, but that is typically the best way to build out those teams. So yeah. Let's see here. Hold on, sorry. But yeah, I appreciate y'all for being here with us today. Thanks very much, Prod by Kel. And great time to get your team playbook in, guys, because this is the last stream of the day, of the week. And next week, we'll have a whole new queue, and you can join that queue. You can be number 1 on the list. So appreciate y'all for being here with me, and I'll see you guys very soon. Nothing but love. Peace.